So Ray was pretty much crying on the orchestra floor.
Oh man, yeah.
You're okay with me bringing this?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's fine. Like I said, I was like a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
a lot of
and we thought that we would, be the one forever.
Mm-hmm. As with every relationship.
Yeah, as with every relationship. Welcome to another episode of Talks with a Past Lover. Today we have Raymond on, and where's my notebook? So we dated. I was a sophomore year in high school. You were a freshman year in high school. Our anniversary date was 10/20 because I always wrote that. We always
everywhere,
wrote that. Everywhere.
Yeah.
We used to write letters to each other and leave it in our lockers.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I forgot about
that.
Yeah,
this is gonna be a lot of reminiscing.
Yes.
But
we'll go down
memory
one step
lane.
at a time. Yeah.
But like Alex, he also had to suffer the wrath of my mom. And oh man, wait for the stories for that. Anyways, just starting with the basics.
How is she, by the way?
She's good. I mean, I visit her every 2 weeks now.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
especially since my grandparents are getting older. So
Yeah.
she's like, please just do this for your grandparents.
Yeah.
That was my horrible accent. But yeah, so we established how long we dated, when we dated.
It was about a year, yeah.
Yeah, it was about a year.
Yeah.
Was there a point where we had a break?
There was a
bit?
break. If I remember correctly, it was like over summer. It was.
Oh yeah,
there was a break.
I remember that because we couldn't see each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we got back, and it was kind of like, it wasn't. It was. We were together, but not. It was weird. Like after summer, it was weird.
Yeah.
I remember that. But then we officially had like a breakup. On a year to the date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To the date.
Yeah.
Because can't forget that 10/20.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, it was. I forgot that we actually had that break. I just didn't remember that it was a year that we were together for a year.
Yeah.
And oh man, so when we were together, my mom. Here starts the mom stories. My mom, she would tell me that she would call my friends to see if me and Ray were still together. And we're like still hanging out after school.
Yeah.
We met in orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And we would always hang out at the orchestra room. That was like the cool hangout spot in high
Cool kids
school.
were. Not band. Sorry, Evan.
I love
Just
band
kidding.
though.
I'm kidding.
I
I'm totally
I converted
kidding.
to the band side
Yes,
senior year.
You did.
So yeah, we would like hang out after school in orchestra class or orchestra room. And yeah, apparently my mom, when she would pick me up, Ray had to like hide, man. Like he couldn't be in front of my mom.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have to hide. And then Shayla would like help escort me to whatever hiding spot.
She's like, wait, Rosemary's mom is here. You gotta go over there.
Your friends were very loyal. They were very on it. Like I felt like I had like an
entourage.
Yeah, like a security team. Like
You're like, oh, Rosemary's mom is here. Oh man. But so there was that. That was a very big hurdle.
That was
in our relationship.
But do you want to start off where, like, how it all started?
Yeah. So I was like, maybe I should start it off. I don't know exactly why I was initially attracted to you, but I'm pretty sure it's because you're very passionate in music and art, and I love your art still to this day.
Thank you.
And he was always somebody I would look up to when it comes to art. And yeah, now we're both doing art.
Yeah.
Till this day. But yeah, do you remember why you were like initially attracted to me?
I think it was just your personality. A lot of it was your personality and this sort of bubbly nature that you kind of had. Yeah, and I think also the music part. I think, and it's funny because I think a lot of people connect over music. But I still remember it was the buddy walk when we first started talking.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We had a selfie together. I remember that. It's on my MySpace.
It was before selfies were even a thing. But it was a buddy walk, and then we were all hanging out in the shade area or something. And we were like sharing music, and then I was sharing some songs with you, and we were just talking. Yeah, and I think it just felt very natural at the time. And then, you know, hormones and teenager. And then
we were like 14, 15.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think you were with Kevin around that time.
Kevin Rowe?
Yes.
Oh my God. Kevin, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I just completely spaced. Like, oh my God. But like me and Kevin never really made it official.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's not that I didn't forget about him. I was just like, oh my God, I forgot. Like we went to homecoming together, and I miss Kevin too.
I remember he was so pissed at me. Like we had, I think it was like health class or something. It was one of those BS classes, and then
hey, I liked health class.
It was one of those classes where like it wasn't one of our classes of choosing, and it wasn't part of our MSAT curriculum. It was just one we just had
thrown in there.
Yeah, it was just thrown in there.
Hey, and you gotta take this.
We were the only ones that knew each other. Like we didn't know anyone else besides each other in that class. And I remember after I guess it became public that we were together. He was just in the class. He was just tapping his foot.
He was like the antsy, like angry.
Yeah, and then like I was like, "Hey, what's up, Kevin?" He'd just be like, just totally.
He's like, "Hate your guts."
Yeah, I could just totally tell, and I just like try to like be normal and just take notes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a week or so after it was fine. Kevin's always been a cool guy, so.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin, Kevin Rowe.
Yeah, but yeah, so we met at Buddy Walk, and then.
Key Club.
I think that was a lot of Key Club stuff.
We went to a lot of Key Club. We went to Fall Rally together.
Oh yeah.
I remember those photos as well.
Do you remember when we walked? At Fall Rally, we were trying to sit next to each other on a bus, but because
we
like
couldn't
because there's something about the seating chart and and then it was funny because we couldn't even go to Fall Rally because of the fire or something.
Oh yeah, wait, what?
Yeah,
because we were all sitting in the whatchamacallit, the basketball gym court area, and we were just waiting there, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Man.
Yeah.
Key Club, man. Key Club. I feel like a lot of people hopped around in Key Club and in orchestra.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap between the two groups.
Yeah.
But you know, kind of reminiscing now, it's kind of occurring to me that a decent amount of our relationship was sort of in paranoia of some sort. Because I remember even when we were sitting and waiting around and for Key Club, we were just in this gymnasium, and we would be paranoid, like, oh, is anyone, you know, like someone's gonna call your mom, you know, or like.
Oh man,
it was a lot of.
Because my mom.
Yeah, it was kind of bad in terms of like how much we had to like be cautious about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, my mom in itself was a big lesson. But still, like that was kind of.
But you guys are in good terms, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually after I moved away, and distance makes the heart grow fonder. That thing that happened. So yeah, I visit her every now and then. I mean, it was a pretty toxic emotional and mental relationship between my mom and I. But I mean, I had to go through that to be here now. So I love my mom. Yay!
Have you had that talk with her?
About what? Like,
about your relationships?
No, but she's friends on Facebook, so she's probably gonna see these, so she can watch them. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious if you had that talk with her about, those, her calling her friends and stuff like that, and was there any like, love?
No, because I pretty much just moved on from it. I mean, like, there's no point to really like bring that up from the past, because it was something that was toxic, and I learned from it. That's all that matters, and so I moved forward. And I just don't talk to her about relationships in general. And when I do, I'm just kind of like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Just, just okay, Mom.
Do you remember that letter?
Wait, she
letter.
Found a letter that we wrote to each other. With that one?
I think it was that one.
Oh,
no, I wrote your mom a letter.
Oh, wait, what? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I wrote your mom a letter.
Oh, we were avid writers.
Very young.
We were avid writers when we were in high school.
Yeah, and I'm like, Sam can attest to this. I'm kind of a hopeless romantic sometimes. But I remember when we were dating, because I remember it was your mom, and then you were like frustrated about your mom like hovering over you in terms of like your relationship, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the manly thing or whatever, and just step up. So I wrote your mom a letter directly, and I don't remember much of it. I just remember the last thing I wrote, which was, "Thank you for giving birth to an angel."
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember that? And I remember your mom got pissed.
I remember that. Oh yes,
yeah.
I remember that. Just that one-liner.
Yeah, and I guess thinking back, I was just trying to sound as like sweet.
You wanted it to sound sincere
and
grateful.
Sweet, and express how I felt about you when we were together. But man, your mom was. It had the opposite effect, basically.
Yeah, oh no. I mean, anything that you try to do, like...
made it worse.
Like, if you do something with good intentions, probably my mom will be like the complete opposite.
Yeah, because it's anything can be perceived in whatever way.
Yeah, but essentially, like, I feel like it's the same for my mom. Like, she had good intentions for me, but I perceived it opposite.
Yeah.
Of, like, being not letting me be who I could be, and so... It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, because everyone has their role and their part of the story, and perhaps her role was just helping you sort of go through those trials and tribulations for identity.
She eventually. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No.
She eventually taught me what to not do. So I'm very grateful for my mom for that.
That's the anything, and that's good that you found a lesson out of all of that.
Oh yeah, no, I've learned a lot of lessons from my mom.
Yeah.
Like, from the negatives and like the positives. So, thanks, Mom. Oh man.
Hope you're not mad at me still.
Yeah, I don't think she does. Like, I'll probably bring them. No, I think I've met. I think I met up with her once for dinner or something, and I was like, oh yeah, like I saw Ray the other day, and she was like, oh, how's he doing? So I'm pretty sure she doesn't hate your guts, but yeah, I don't know.
It'd be funny if after she should call all your friends like,
she's still with Raymond. Oh god.
I doubt it, but that'd be
10 years later.
That'd be strange. That'd be very strange.
So you mentioned Sam, so I know Raymond's in a relationship right now, and I met Sam, and she's amazing. Shout out to Sam. Aww. But
love you, Lamo.
Aww. Gross. No, I'm just kidding. No, but so how was that? I know you told her about this whole experience, this podcast. Oh God, there's my alarm. This whole experience.
Gotta take your pills.
I don't know. That was to post on Instagram.
Nice.
So how did she feel about me talking to you about this and kind of reminiscing about our
She
past?
was actually very curious. She's very excited to see whatever you're about to post.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've come a long way, and I'm not going to divulge too much because, to respect her privacy and everything.
Of course.
But definitely we've grown a lot, and I can say that initially, like if you were to ask me to do this during our first year of dating, I might not be able to confidently say yes. But yeah, she's definitely grown, and I think that's just an attestament to us as people, and how resilient she is, because we've been through a lot, and every year she's just growing more and more.
Yay!
All the
No,
time.
but that's that's how I've learned that a relationship is like two people growing together, and I feel like I'm usually the person to break up with people, but it's because I feel like I'm just not growing as fast or as much as I need to be, and so that for the most part, looking back, that's why I usually, was like, okay, I'm okay with this relationship. Let's split apart. And do you mind if I bring up how the whole episode of how
that should be a TV show.
Yeah.
Or an episode of some TV show.
Okay, just to keep it short. So I ended up transitioning to another person after we dated, and so Ray was pretty much crying on the orchestra floor.
Oh man, yeah.
You're okay with me bringing this?
Oh yeah,
okay.
It's fine. Like I said, I was like a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we thought that we would, be the one forever.
As with every relationship.
Yeah, as with every relationship. But yeah, Ray was crying on the floor, and he was telling the person that I was, well, I mean, he's an ex-husband, so I was telling Chow, or he was telling Chow, like, please take care of her. I remember you saying that. And so
I don't even remember that.
Really?
I think I just going through so much at the time, like
yeah,
no
well, that was
memory, like,
just a lot of emotions going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was going on, and then I remember like going back, I was essentially judging you. Like I was saying, like, man, he's really emotional, and that's not. I've learned now that's not a negative thing. Like being emotional and expressing your emotions should not be perceived as a negative emotion or a negative trait. And something I learned recently, because I judged you for being emotional, I was judging myself for being emotional too, because I'm pretty emotional. And so that was just one of the lessons that I learned from our relationship. And I'm sorry I called you emotional.
no, that's totally fine. I'm curious though, like, so looking back, do you think there were moments where you felt you have to restrict your level of emoting?
No. Well, sometimes. Well, I can tell where I should draw the line, and I can tell where it's like just to let it all out. Kind of just I've learned to set those boundaries. But I know, like, I can be very, I can emote a lot when a really like high vibrating whatchamacallit situation comes. And so, yeah. What about you? Do you feel like that you, what was the question again?
Do you, like, reflecting on the whole not judging emotion anymore.
Yeah.
Or the expression of emotion, not judging it as something negative anymore. For me, I've always been sort of at a weird wrestle, because I've always identified as being an emotional person. And I've always known that I've been. And more recently, I've looked at it as not so much as like, oh, I gotta stop being so emotional kind of thing, but more just being emotionally intelligent, understanding that emotions are just like thoughts. They go through you, but acting upon it is your own choice, and that's the most important thing. Because I know, for me, like I said, it was an identity. Part of me being a creative is also being an emotional.
Like expressing that emotion.
Yeah. And how I navigate through the world is through emotions. How I remember things is through those emotions. What I felt because of the way a room was lit, or the way some building was set up, and the way people walked around the park. Like, all of that initiated some sort of emotion in me. And that's how I experienced things. And I always knew that if I were to ever shut it off, then it's almost like shutting off my senses.
And you're essentially shutting off yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, in terms of emotions being negative, it's very false.
Yeah.
It's vital. It's just a matter of knowing how to sort through those emotions and understand, oh, I'm feeling this way, and how will I let this serve me? Whether you learn a lesson from it, whether you act on it, or whether you learn to just put it aside. Not necessarily push it down, but to put it aside, meaning you let yourself feel it, and then you move on from it.
You recognize it and you're aware of it, and then how do you move forward with that? I think I felt bad for judging you as emotional, because I mean, for me, I grew up with a stigma of like, boys are not allowed to be emotional. Men aren't allowed to cry. You're not a man if you cry. Like all those things. I was like, oh my God, why?
Real men cry.
Real men cry. But yeah, I feel like that's also a reason why I also felt bad for like judging you in that sense.
Honestly, I didn't even know.
Well, yeah, I never told that, so
never
there's
said it to my
secrets
face.
out.
Yeah.
Because we didn't. I don't think we talked like after the whole.
Yeah,
breakup.
it was a while before we talked, and even since then we talked very sporadically. this is probably the longest we've talked in, I don't know.
Since then.
Yeah, since then. Before it was just like, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 like very small talk and just kind of like, sort of like a check-in. It's like, hey, we're still friends, right? Kind of thing.
We good?
Yeah.
Still good?
Yeah. But yeah, this is like the longest we've talked for a long time.
Yay! Yeah.
What year that was like 9 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago.
No, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
because
me and Alex were like 12 years ago. So like 10 to 11 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago, man.
Yeah, and man, I forgot the other thing that I was going to transition to. It was a good topic. Oh yeah, so now, like fast forward to now, we like you said, we talk sporadically every now and then. You're like, hey, how you doing? Or like we send each other stuff on Instagram, like inspirational stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Because he sends me podcasts and like inspirations to.
And I commend you for your courage to like just put yourself out there. To be honest, like, and that's actually, to be honest, one of the reasons I reached out. What was it, a few months ago? Because I was seeing that you're putting your content out there, and I was like, man, I could be doing that too. But I think in general, just you having that courage to just create and just, you know, set it out there, let the world do its own judging and not judging yourself on it. I think that's awesome.
Yay,
yeah.
Thanks. And I'm pushing you to do it now. I know you're working on it, so I'm like, yay.
Thank you. But yeah, so coming a full circle, I remember the other day you were talking about soulmates.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, not in the romantic sense, but in the human connection.
Like the energetic sense.
Yeah. Which I don't know if like your audience is into all that esoteric stuff, but I was thinking about it after you were saying that in a sense we're soulmates. And I can see where you're coming from in terms of like the parallels of our trajectory in life. But I wanted to ask you more about it. Like, so I mean, what do you perceive as like a soulmate? Like, what constitutes a soulmate, essentially?
Well, to me, what I've learned, a soulmate is something that, or like this really strong energetic connection. And looking back to all the people that I've been with, I consider all of them soulmates because we had a strong energetic connection, like romantically, intimately, intelligently, or emotionally, mentally. Yeah, all the above, all the leads, all of the above. And so, I mean, a soulmate doesn't have to be an intimate relationship either. Like it can be your best friend. Your best friend could be your soulmate, and yeah, it was just cool to find out and realize that you can have multiple soulmates. And then when I realized that, I was just like, oh my God, like now I know why these people were in my life. And soulmates are people who are meant to be in your life and had a past life connection with. And so we were probably past life friends or something in I don't know, 5 generations or lifetimes ago. I don't know. Anyways, we don't know. We can ask somebody, like we can ask a reader. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've learned so far. I don't know if that answered your question, but
it does. I was just more curious about like the role that soulmates play in your life. Not just in the physical meeting, but also, you know, people you haven't met yet.
Yeah.
And because the way I see things is that everything and everyone is technically in a relationship with each other. Like the relationship with people you don't agree with, people you don't know, people you know intimately. It's all a relationship and how you perceive that relationship.
Man, my GoPro just keeps turning off. I asked it before this episode to please not turn off, and it keeps turning off. But
it's okay. So yeah, I was just curious on how a soulmate, you know, even if it's someone you haven't met yet, how perceiving, like understanding and perceiving a soulmate would affect how you kind of go through life. So for example, like when we're young, we're like, oh, you know, thinking about, oh, who am I going to marry in the future and stuff like that. Like you have this ideal sense. Like do you think the conscious awareness of the soulmate affects how you relate to people. I guess is a better way to phrase it.
I mean, it doesn't affect me, but now that you say it like that, like soulmates are essentially here to teach you lessons. And kind of like one step above a soulmate is a twin flame.
Okay.
And that's like, I don't know how to fully explain twin flame, but there's only one twin flame in your life from what I've learned so far, and they are here to teach you the most and the hardest lessons. And one of the people I was with actually is my twin flame. I just found that out recently, but yeah, it's just whoever has taught you the most lessons most likely is your twin flame, or maybe you haven't met them yet. And yeah, it's just for like somebody that you haven't met yet, you will meet them when the time comes.
Yeah,
like that's,
when it's appropriate.
Yeah, when that lesson for you to learn is ready for you to learn.
Yeah.
So,
Have you ever like just talked to someone new and just be like, oh, I think this is a soulmate? Or is it more of you have to have some level of experience with them first?
I haven't had that experience yet, but I haven't really met anyone recently who's just like, oh yeah, you're my soulmate. Or actually, no, I take that back. Yeah, my friend Gabe. He's the one I did the plant medicine with.
Okay.
We like, I've already called him like soul family, and before I even met him for that podcast. So yeah, but he's like on that level of like being aware of what a soulmate is, and so actually I have had that conversation.
Yeah, so I think that's because I think it's interesting when you brought that up, because it's like, you know, most people don't really think about that kind of stuff thing, or when they do, it's more of that romantic sense and the ideal, like, oh, you're the one type of thing. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to kind of dissect that a little bit. But yeah, what's the follow-up to that?
I don't know. Oh, are you friends with anyone else that you've been with in the past?
Not really. You're probably the closest person, like ex that I'm friends with. There was this other ex where I was webcamming with her, and I talked to her sometimes, but we used to like webcam a lot, and we would just like sort of vent. And she's I don't know if she's currently still with him, but at the time we were webcamming, she was with someone who she was with for like 8 years at that time.
Oh man.
Yeah, so they've been together, and I think they got a place. I don't know their story. I haven't talked to her in a while. But yeah, I remember. We would talk for a while and stuff, but that's really the only other person. Lisa, who I dated after you, I have not talked to her since, because that was a tough relationship, and I'm pretty indifferent now, but there was never really an instance where I felt the need to be like, hey, let's go get coffee or whatever. But
do you think like there's like some like bad air, like bad energy still in the air? Oh wait, since you know about soulmates, sorry, cut you off. Go ahead. No, that brought me up to something else, because with soulmates or with anyone, there's these things called cords.
Okay.
And so the reason I asked that is because usually if you are with somebody and had that bad experience, you can cut these cords. Like if you're in a meditation or something, you can cut these cords and pretty much have a clean slate. And that's something I brought up.
I don't think I've ever had that sort of experience where I consciously was thinking about like sort of cutting that cord and resetting the slate. But I think it was more of any qualms I had with the past relationship, at some point I understood that it was all internal. It was all coming from me. Because I can't control who that person is. I can't control their side of the story or whatever. So I knew that if I wanted to get over all the issues that was associated with that relationship, it had to come internally. So
you had to heal yourself.
Yeah, it was just like a form of self-acceptance, and of course, like right after a relationship, a lot of your actions tend to be reactions to that breakup or whatever. It's like whether it's you're trying to cope with it, so you go party or whatever, or
Drank. No,
yeah,
I'm just kidding. Yeah,
or
15,
whatever. Yeah,
drink a lot. No, I'm
there's
just kidding.
whatever coping mechanism, but until you get over, a lot of your actions are just reactions to whatever that is, whether it's like
Because it's essentially a traumatic event.
yeah, and then you're just kind of trying to sort of make up for it in some sense. So if you're still holding on to that bad experience, you make decisions that are brash and sometimes illogical, just so you kind of either overcompensate or, like I said, make up for whatever it is. And like a good example is, so my previous relationship, so before Sam, who it's been like 3 years now that we've been together.
Yay.
So
I didn't even know it was been that long.
yeah, well, not yeah. So I totally lost my train of thought.
Guess it wasn't important.
No, so
I'm just kidding.
So Sam and I have been together for so long, and then before Sam, I was single for 6 years. Partly because the relationship right before Sam was so traumatic in some sense, and it was so bad that. So Lisa is what her name is. She I knew she was going to school somewhere in like California or something, and I wanted to go to like a nice prestigious school, but in my college decisions, I knew I didn't want to go to California. Partly because I knew she was in California, which is kind of a stupid idea, because like
You're letting somebody block you from what you want to do.
I'm still letting her influence my decisions, even or lack of decision or whatever it was. And I'm sure there's a lot of other ones that I can't recall right now, but like that's just one example of, you know, a past experience, a bad breakup or whatever, influencing my life in that sense. And I want to ask you, was there any moment that you had that was similar where you were sort of reacting to a bad breakup? Granted, you said that you're usually the one that breaks it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't really think of anything that like traumatic for me, because I mean I am friends with like almost everyone that I've dated so far, and so I mean I pretty much healed that already, or so I think that I healed it.
So far,
apparently,
yeah.
I might have something subconscious still in me that, you know, it's just not rising up to me right now. But I mean, I'm pretty sure I've done like really irrational, dumb things because of like a recent breakup or something. But I mean, I have gotten depressed before after a breakup, so there's that. But that's for the episode later. But I mean, it'll happen for a reason. And like whatever happened in the past, like that's a big thing too that I've learned. Like when people ask you, oh, if there's one thing you could change in the past, what would it be? And I'd be like, nothing, because everything that I had gone through is what brought me here today, and this is why I'm here. Yeah. And this is why we're here doing this right now. Yeah. And it's I used to beat myself up because I would technically date somebody new every year, and I was like, okay, why can't I hold on? Why can't I hold on a relationship? But now I tell myself, when I look back, it's because I had to go through all those experiences with different people so that now I could be here and share those experiences with the world, and hopefully the world will learn something from what we got through. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. That's why we're here. Just flinging my arms everywhere. And
so you don't see yourself judging yourself anymore?
Yeah. Or like I still do from time to time, but when I do, I like stop and I'm just like, all right, Rosemary, because like going back to reflections of like when I judged you, I'm judging myself. When I judge like somebody else, I'm like, hold on, man. That means I'm judging myself. Yeah. So
how we see the world is a reflection of how we see ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so yeah, I try not to. Do you find yourself judging?
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm always like critiquing myself. Like, yeah. Yeah, there's always moments like, oh, why am I not here or there yet? You know, like Like I remember, because I went to architecture school for like a semester, and I came back because it was overwhelming. I didn't know anyone, and it was also a financial burden for my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And they graduated 2017. Yeah, 2017. And I remember that year, I was just like, oh, they all graduated. That could have been me.
Oh, like all your friends that you met in
Yeah,
school?
that I met there, and like all the opportunity. It was New York, and at the time I was just looking back. I was like, well, I feel like I'm still where I was 5 years ago. I could have, and all this woulda, coulda, shoulda bullshit. And it happens every now and then. You know, you want to reflect and see, okay, how far have I gone? And sometimes, you know, you haven't gone as far as you wanted to. But maybe it's not a matter of like going far, but the fact that you keep going. But yeah, that's just what I've learned about myself, because I would always judge myself in that sense, you know. And in terms of like a relationship, I always try to use like that past experience, and there were some things that like I judged myself on, in terms of like previous relationships, like, oh, maybe I fucked up in this aspect of being a boyfriend, and
so I don't want to do that again for my future.
And it carries on. I mean, was there a moment that you can think of where you're like, oh, I wish Ray didn't do that as much, or?
I mean, I don't really have anything. I mean, 10 years ago was a long time.
It was a long time,
man.
yeah. That's why I know I can't think of anything in specific, but I know I have regrets in terms of being a boyfriend.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I had regrets too, like being a girlfriend.
I don't know if you want to edit this out, but I know for me, what I regretted was the sexual evolution.
Oh, that's on your part. If you want me to edit that out, I can edit it out.
But yeah, like I regretted that in a sense, because I felt, at least looking back, I felt maybe that didn't even need to be there. And I feel like when it did come up, it became sort of the prevalent aspect about it. And that's something I try to, I don't want to say like hinder, that's not the right word, but it's something that I regretted. And that regret plays a role in how I carry myself as a boyfriend, you know, like being aware and yeah, so that's my side of that aspect.
No, for the regrets. Yeah, I mean, I live a life with no regrets. So I was like, I don't have any regrets, or at least now I definitely don't live a life with any regrets. But I'm pretty sure I had regrets back then at the time.
You felt, that you've come to terms with since then. Yeah, and it didn't necessarily eat me up alive, but it definitely just affected my psyche a lot. Because I felt bad. I felt like, in some way, I felt like I somehow took advantage of you, or the relationship itself.
Oh, well, I didn't feel like that, so.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that.
And like I said, like I'm pretty harsh on myself, and sometimes we're our own harshest critic. But that's how I sort of perceived. Because I think I was the initiator in all that. And because I was the initiator, I feel
like you look back and you're like, oh man, should I have initiated that?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like all the weight is my fault. And I remember I messaged you one day, just like apologizing for all of that, if I ever made you feel regret for anything.
It's just like resurfacing right now, all these memories. But no, I mean, to clear it, I didn't feel anything like that. So like I didn't feel taken advantage of or anything. So it was a mutual thing. So yay, I'm glad you brought it up though.
Yeah.
So now you can clear that and heal that. You're like, yes, I'm okay.
I feel lighter. I lost 5 pounds.
Yes, 5 energetic pounds. Where did my notebook go? I'm pretty sure that we already talked about everything that I wanted to. And pretty much just like, how are you doing now?
I'm doing good. I don't know how much detail you want to go into my personal life outside of a relationship.
I mean,
but
it's all what you want to talk about.
No, I've been doing good. Just finding my path and blazing my own trail, and not kind of like you, just trying to live life without regrets. And I think I've spent too much time always looking back, and now my neck hurts. You know what
You're
I mean?
like, ugh.
Yeah. So now I'm focused on looking forward and just.
Yay!
Yeah.
The present and future. That's important.
Yes, and I appreciate you being a part of that. You know, no matter how small, I appreciate the fact that we can still be friends. That's like I try to think about, okay, people who hate all their exes. I'm trying to imagine what that kind of life is, because then you're just carrying all of that.
It's all that baggage.
Yeah, and so I can say with great gratitude that not having a baggage in terms of you is great.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No,
yeah.
that makes sense, because like essentially when you look back to your past, I reflect to my past. It's just to look back with gratitude and say thank you for everything that happened, so that I could be myself like right now. And so, yes, I'm very grateful that you're here. Yeah. And I remember now. Sorry, I just got a random memory. So, maybe 5 years ago, when you were living in Denver, you would randomly call me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be like, why the fuck is he calling me right now? And sometimes I would ignore you. I'm sorry.
I called everyone. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So in context, I was doing. This is how I met Sam. Actually, I was doing a summer program. This was 3 years ago. I was in Denver, Aurora to be more specific. I was selling books door to door for the summer program, Southwestern Advantage, and that shit kicked my ass. Like knocking on random people's doors, saying, "Hi, you the mom and dad of the house?
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell books," or whatever. I don't remember the sales song, but yeah, I would call a lot of people, and you were in my contact list, and I did call you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interject, but yeah, that's the context of that phone call that you're referring to.
Yeah. But I felt bad because every time you call me, well, not every time, but sometimes I would just be like, why is he calling me right now? I'm like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Yeah. But obviously from that, we're here, we're good.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm sure I've annoyed a lot of people, man. I was emotionally suffering. But
when we did talk, I would always get off and be like, oh, well, I hope he's okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you called
I survived.
me. You're here. Yes, you were still here on this earth.
Yeah.
But that was just a random moment that I remembered. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to talk about anything else that's going on in your life.
Plugins, check out my Instagram.
Yeah, no, where can we find you on Instagram?
I think it's Rei.designs.
REI. Dot designs.
Yes.
Yep.
And you can find me on RaymondOn.designs. That's my personal website.
Oh, I didn't know you had wait.
I just finished coding. Yeah.
Oh,
I just
yay!
finished coding it.
Yeah, I remember you were working on it.
There's some little things before I officially
launch it,
but you can check it out.
Yeah, by
now.
the time this is, I'm only releasing this in June.
But yeah, you can find me there, and keep following Roro. Bring out some awesome content.
And follow Ray. I seriously do love his work. He's a graphic designer, by the way, and he does amazing drawings. He draws really well. From my perspective.
I draw good.
I draw good, like GUD good. So yeah, go follow him out and check him out and push him to
do more.
To do more.
Yes.
Because yes, he's very creative, and he is definitely one of my inspirations for being an artist. So yay, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And thank you for taking the time to sit down and chat about our past life in this generation. No.
Yes, until the next episode.
Yeah. So, man, the next episode's gonna be an interesting one, y'all.
Alrighty.
But yay. Comment below if anything that we went through resonated with you, or this is like my spiel that I have to make up every time at the end. I'm still working on it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this talk, and stay tuned for the next talk with my past lover. Bye.